presentation is on Jones v. North Carolina Prisoners Labor Union. This was decided in 1977. This was a United States Supreme Court case where the court held that prison inmates do not have the right under the First Amendment to join labor unions. In the past, prisoners were viewed as slaves of the state. This means they forfeit their absolute freedoms to the state. In 1941, prisoners were granted the right of access to the court, meaning the right of habeas corpus could not be infringed. It allowed prisoners to challenge infringements of other protected rights in the Constitution. Prisoners continued to be subject to the state's will. Administrators still were under protection of the hands-off doctrine. The Appellees Prisons Labor Union was formed in 1974. The stated goal of this organization was to promote charitable labor through the union and to form labor unions at every prison and jail in North Carolina to seek better working conditions. The state of North Carolina did not approve of this deployment and decided to try and eliminate unions among these prisoners. The state was in favor of individual members within the union, but sought to eliminate mail solicitation meetings. On March 26, 1975, activities of solicitation and group memberships were banned. A week before the date on which this ruling was to go into effect, the union filed a suit in the United States District Court of North Carolina on March 18, 1975. This claim was that their right of the First Amendment, including free speech, association, and assembly activities, were being stepped on. The Prisoners' Labor Union of Appellee argued that their First Amendment and equal protection rights were being violated by regulations in the North Carolina Department of Corrections. These regulations did not allow prisoners to join the labor union or solicit other prisoners to join. They also didn't allow union meetings. The Prisoners Administration claimed that they believed the existence of a union would significantly threaten and cause a higher burden on the discipline and control of the prison administrators. Through the creation of unions, they believed that inmates would use the organization to slow work, cause stoppage, and any other unwanted problems. The district court concluded that there was no consequence or consensus on whether or not association of inmates was necessarily good or bad. This statement was, "We are unable to perceive why it is necessary or essential to security and order in the prisons to forbid solicitation of memberships in a union permitted by authorities. This is not a case of a riot. There is not one scintilla of evidence to suggest that the union has been utilized to disrupt the operations of a penal institutions. It was decided that they did not give proper defense to the decision of the prison administrators. The natural law of protections for officials inside prisoners were overlooked. The ruling stated that this was the only natural that prison administrators would have to impose limits on constitutional rights, including those from the First Amendment. The Supreme Court's decision. The Supreme Court decision was given on June of 23 in 1977. The Supreme Court sided with the administrators of the prison. The final ruling was 7-2. The reasons that they gave: the regulation of the prisons were brought before the court did not violate the First Amendment. The presented argument agreed upon was that there was needs to be limits on constitutional rights outside of the prison walls while inside the penal institution. Prohibitions on the solicitation between inmates do not abridge the free speech rights of the inmates, and prison officials are entitled to control organized activities within the confines of a prison. These rules are both reasonable and necessary. Thank you very much.